Welcome to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage, and today we're going to be having a look at Sandbox. Let's get into the price action. Okay, so last time we were looking at the video, we were talking about this discussion, or discussing rather, the fact that we could have a bigger ABC pattern. 1-to-1 would have been this $1.15. This did have the potential to actually become a bigger five-wave move if we do cross this $1.91 area. We haven't done that yet, obviously, so we need to just bear in mind that even if we do get a push to the upside, this 115 is going to be an important area that we need to see how we react around this zone, because it would also be into this big resistance area that we have higher up here. So if we are looking at this, there are, a couple of things that we've discussed before. The fact that, we could be also looking at a more bearish case where we actually look to break down and looking for something like this. Really, invalidation of this only comes past crossing this 149. If we form a three-wave move up here, something like this, A, B, and C, potentially we could still be looking for a drop to the downside for a bigger third wave as a diagonal pattern. So this is still on the cards here. We need to just be a little bit careful of it. There are also, other ways of counting this move to the downside. Currently, this is my preferred count, so I'm going to stick with that. But basically, we need to be careful of the fact that if we have just a corrective structure up here, this could actually indicate we're going to see some sell-off to the downside. Okay, so the other thing we were discussing was looking for the potential of a breakdown from this point here. Then we'll just come in a little bit closer. So we were looking for some additional fourths and fifths, and we didn't actually make it down to this zone of this 49, 46. So I'm not looking at this anymore because we've actually come up higher than this wave one. So this would invalidate this potential that we have here unless we have some kind of a diagonal. But then, the structure here is not great either. So it's not my preferred interpretation. What I am looking for, though, however, is still the potential that we could see something like this play out, where we look at this either as a 1 and a 2. If we get rejection between this 79.04 to the 67.18, we could still see this potential to drop down towards this 29-cent range as a third wave if we are going to do that. Alternatively, we could still see a push to the downside here, ABC, something like this, towards this 41.27 area. What we don't really want to lose is this 46.03, though. We could potentially come down below this and then come back above it and find support, something like this. What we wouldn't want to see is a sustained move underneath here where we actually look to then break down. It becomes more likely once we lose this area, if we do lose it, that we are going to see a new low come in. So this is something that's just keeping on the back burner here. Invalidation of this would only come by taking out this 89.26. If we fail to do that, basically we would have to be aware of the fact that we could still see this break to the downside. So this is just stuff we need to keep in the back of our minds as we're looking at some bullish potentials here. But really, for as long as we hold this 44.71, we can still look for the bullish potential for a C wave move to the upside. The problem I have within this move is it's currently looking very corrective, and for that reason, we just need to be a little bit careful. So I'm going to discuss what would have to happen, in my opinion, for us to see a breakout in this zone. So what I'm looking out for is the potential of either an ABC, which could take us up towards this 83.80, or potentially if it does look to extend up further towards this 105, we could have confirmation of a bigger 1, 2. At this point, we'd have a third wave. We'd be looking for a fourth and then a fifth to the upside. And then from there, we'd have to see what happens if that's the case. There is always the potential, we could be looking to extend out and we form, a couple of 1s and 2s in here, something like this, and then it takes off to the upside. But yeah, we don't have that confirmation yet, so we just need to be careful because this is looking awfully corrective at the moment, and we're going to go through that as well within the video. So the way that I'm currently looking at this move, based off of the structure that we have here, is I'm looking at this as a diagonal pattern, and what I want to see here is whether we actually get a retracement down into this zone here and find support. So this zone would be the 63.24 to the 60.10 area. If we do find support here, we do have the potential to push up in a bigger third wave still, where this becomes 1, 2, and then we would be looking for that possible move up to this zone here of this 82.62. If we lose 60 cent 10, this would make this move very unlikely at this point, and once we cross this low, it becomes at this 57.85, it would invalidate this potential push to the upside. So the thing that I'm just bearing in mind here as well is the current move we have to the upside here as a um, as in relation to this A wave, it has already hit 0.618. So just based off of that fact, I'm just being a bit cautious. We could see, a continuation to the downside here, and we look to just reject, and this is just a big corrective move in the middle of a move to the downside. It is, however, possible as well for as long as we hold this 50 cent 45. So this was our previous support box area before we started to look for this as another potential 1-2. If we form something like this as A, B, and then C, to the downside, we could still look to find support above this 54.60. So really above this 54.60 area, we can potentially still look for that continuation to the upside in a C wave, which would be looking towards this 83.80 at the current moment. If we had to come down again and let's say we test the 786, that would bring it down towards a 7971 area. So we'll have to be just monitoring this as we go. So yeah, we'll have to just see. As long as this 54.60 holds, potentially we can still look for continuation up. But if we start to lose that, then I would be looking out for one of these next two options that we're quickly going to discuss. Basically, we could have something like this, where we're still within a X wave. Like I said, we have A, B, and C, or W, X, and Y, depending on how you want to count this move here. You can potentially count it as a 5-wave move. So because of that, I'm looking at it as A, B, C in the previous option. However, within this one, because I'm looking for that possibility of this green WXY down here towards this 43.29, what I'm looking out for within the current structure we have is that, potentially we could still be in a X wave where this actually comes out further, and we still look to find a rejection in the zone of this 82.39 to this 68.92, and we just have a bigger messy corrective structure developing here. Or alternatively, what we could then see is, this start to break down directly from here, where this becomes A, B, and then potentially we look for that C wave down. So this is going to be key, because if we are starting to break down from this point, the current 1-to-1 of this as a B, and a C would actually bring us down to this 54.75. So failing to hold this zone, what I would then be looking for is that potential of finding support lower down in this green support box area, which could be between this sort of 53.333 to this 45.69. So if we do lose this low, obviously that 45.69 is going to be a key point to keep within this zone. But 1-to-1 would technically bring us down towards this 43.29. So this kind of a move wouldn't invalidate that potential of upside here still, where this whole thing could be ABC and we could still see that push up. What would invalidate that, in my opinion, would be crossing this 37.52. The only way that that would still work is if there's some kind of a bigger corrective structure from further back here, but it doesn't really make sense in my opinion. If that's the case, yeah, I would be looking at the potential of that direct sell-off at that point. And this is something, like I said, we just need to keep this count in the back of our minds here, that, as long as we hold these key support zones and these lows of this 57.96 and this low of this 50.38, we can look for that bullish potential. But losing these, I will be looking out for this potential to either come down towards this 41.27 or even deeper towards this 29 cent range. So this is the bearish count here. So yeah, we do have potential to push up here, but we need to see this follow through. We need to see those key support zones hold, and we need to see this actually start to move to the upside here. Like I said, currently the only way that I can count this as an impulse would be potentially as a diagonal here, and then we're looking for a wave two. But once we lose this 57.85, that would invalidate that potential, and then we'd be looking for that lower support zone again, like I said here, this 54.60. If we fail that, then this move is falling apart, and we would be looking for those lower supports, in my opinion. So we're going to keep you up to date as best we can. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you enjoyed the content, please smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, and leave us some feedback down below. Also in the description, you'll find a link to the Discord. Give us some feedback, and come and join us there. It's free to join. Everyone, Have a great day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.